Let's see. Autopilot at your request to limit any muscle fatigue traveling from point A to point B. 15 minutes to recharge, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.3 seconds. 17-inch tablet on the dashboard. Am I the only one aroused right now? Probably, because no one cares about features and benefits. This is something you cover after you've generated some form of interest. Your purpose is your selling proposition. Tesla doesn't sell cars. They sell an idea to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And that's just simply their mission statement, which is also backed by their additional services now, like solar roofs and solar panels. Branding is an idea which translates to a belief. Your audience either buys into or rejects that belief, and storytelling is what sells that belief. If your brand is unable to attract an audience that you want, well, first we have to figure out why that's the case. What is your brand belief? Who is most likely attracted to this belief? And how can that story best be told? We'll get started with what is your brand belief. An attempt to brand with no purpose doesn't serve as the best strategy. Many people are much more informed today and just aware of their overall options, so that's just not gonna work. We sell better cars is just corny. And a brand doesn't create their own lane by being better. Better is subjective anyway. For example, if I told y'all fried oysters are better than fried shrimp, some people may hear that and disagree. And then there are others that are gonna cringe, at even the thought of seafood. I feel sorry for those people. But what I'm basically saying is what's better for me may not be better for you. It's just different. The challenge today is a lot of brands, are unable to figure out what makes them different and establish a belief that's unique to their industry. And this is exactly what causes your audience to do things like price match. Next is who is most likely attracted to this belief. Your goal isn't to attract everyone. I'm sure you may have heard before, but what you want to do is focus on your high value audience. So let's go back to Tesla for a minute. Their high value audience would be those who understand their belief and are in a market to buy a new vehicle. This sets the foundation for who your ideal audience is as you begin to dig into, more demographics down the line. The concept is also similar to music. Music produces a very transparent vibe that is dedicated to a particular audience, yet everyone can enjoy. Brand must also adapt this universal language. So if you were ever stressed or I'll say overwhelmed or just worried about, isolating other audiences or niching down, then rest assured, just because your ideal audience is who you want to buy into your belief doesn't mean that other groups can't benefit as well. It just means that your target is ideal, but the market is everybody. How can this story best be told? I remember anytime I would, want to go out to eat as a child, I would tap into how, such an event made me feel. We have this at home would never work on me because I wouldn't place any focus on the actual food. Well, I can't say never. I actually learned through trial and error. But I was focused on, the actual feelings that were drawn from that experience. Meaning, let me see, it became clear that if we go out to eat, that's guaranteed family time. Whereas if we stay at home, then it's more likely to not happen, just simply because everybody is usually doing their own thing. Instead, I was focused on events and creating memories, which ultimately got me what I wanted, which was a brownie sundae from Fridays. But what I noticed, and I didn't even realize that I was doing this at that age, all I knew was that anytime I mentioned food that we have at home, we usually weren't going anywhere. And that's what happens when you live with a chef. The best way to tell a story is by painting a picture of an experience. Experiences are priceless. It creates a moment in time that you can't get back. And besides smooth talking my way to eat out most weekends, it's also one of the reasons that Disneyland is a billion-dollar brand. They aren't selling you tickets to an amusement park. This is the happiest place on earth. A place where employees may get fired for not smiling at guests. A place to create a moment in time. And what's even better is when your audience is the hero of that experience. They feel accomplished, that they even made such an investment. There's nothing better than, making a decision that results in a dope experience, especially if it benefits not just you, but people that you care about. But none of this can happen if you lead with features and benefits. You have to lead with emotion, then justify with logic once that emotional investment has been made. So, how does branding work? It's a law of attraction. The message you lead with is what will be received by your audience. If you lead with price, then they'll lead with price. If you lead with features and benefits, then they'll lead with features and benefits. And if you lead with purpose, then they'll buy your belief. If you found this helpful at all, then just let me know in the comments, what you think, what's your take on it. And make sure y'all go ahead and like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.